everyone, Letty here. Today I'm going to share with you an Echo Park Club EP box. This is the Welcome Fall kit from September. We're going to do project number 1, which are going to be folios. Welcome everyone. For November Smash Our Stash, it's a free choice month. So in my last video, I gave you the choice for summer, farmhouse, or fall. To see which one you preferred. For summer, we had 4 votes. For the farmhouse one, we had 20 votes, which was much higher. And then Welcome Fall had a whopping 23 votes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start a new video series using up this September 2022 Club EP kit. It has the Welcome Fall collection. Here's what came in the kit. So again, it's the Welcome Fall by Carta, and it's a 6x6 paper pad. So I'm going to do a quick flip through. So this was the fall kit. This is the one that won based on the votes from the last video. I will try to smash the farmhouse one as well, but just not right away. And so here is the stamp set as well that came in this kit. Super fun. And the stamp sets are exclusive to the kit. Then you get some enamel dots. These are some of my favorite. And then we have some ephemera pieces. Lots of frames and things as well in here. So that's the ephemera pack. And then we have the chipboard accents. Now these are not adhesive, they just have chipboard. So real pretty. And again, there's no adhesive on the back. And then we do have a 12x12 sticker sheet. So here is a close-up of the sticker sheet that comes in the kit. Super pretty. Love those patterns. And then these are the 12x12 sheets. These are double-sided. And this is the luscious Carta paper. We've got some 3x4 cut-aparts. So I'll be saving those, you know me. I like to use my cut-aparts as cut-aparts. Here's another pattern. Really pretty oranges and just really pretty fall colors. They did include some teals and greens in this set, which I think just make a really lovely addition to it. Really pretty plaids in this set as well. Some fun leaves and things. Just lots of plaid patterns on your B-sides. Those fall signs and this gorgeous mustard. I love mustard color in the fall. I think it's just gorgeous. Some more plaids. So these are the 12x12 sheets that come with the kit. Really pretty. And then there are some miscellaneous cut-aparts. I will be also cutting these down later in the video. Look at that little tiered tray. I'm going to be cutting these down to use them as cut-aparts. And then you got just another really fun pattern paper. So, and the way this works is we're going to do several projects over the course of the next week. And I'm going to use all of the items, or try to use as much of the items that came in this kit. Again, we have a video series coming with multiple projects, and we'll be smashing this kit. And then I'll do the final reveal on November 7th for the Smash Our Stash video. So again, this is the September 2022 Echo Park Club EP. This is Carta Welcome Fall. The first project we're going to do today are some folios. And these are the ones inspired by MayMay Made It for the 6x8 paper. I have these 3x4 cut-aparts. I'm going to set these aside. I am going to cut these and this miscellaneous sheet of cut-aparts separately later in the video. So I'm going to use those as cut-aparts. The rest of the sheets, I'm going to go ahead and try to use them as regular paper. So I have this one sheet of 4x6 cut-aparts. I'm also going to try to salvage as much of that paper as I can and use a couple of those cut-aparts. I did mass assemble my folios off camera, so I brought in 2 of them. I find that that's so much easier because making the folio itself, the foundation, is not my favorite thing to do. It's just the decorating that I love. So we're going to cut all of our sheets down to 8x12 because we're going to be able to get 2 main sheets from every 12x12 sheet of paper. But because this one has the cut-aparts you see here, I'm going to try to salvage this to where I just keep the bottom half of this paper because I really like those top 2 cut-aparts. So I'm going to trim off those top 2 cut-aparts because I know what I'll have left is 8 inches of paper. So we got 2 gorgeous cut-aparts. I'll cut those down later. So what I have now is essentially an 8x12 piece of paper, which is what I need. I'm just going to trim off that branding strip. And you do want to save your branding strip. You've got lots of usable pieces here, including sentiments. Look at this, Welcome Fall. That would be gorgeous on a project. So I'm going to save these branding strips for later. Now, what I have left is 8 inches by 12 inches. And I'm just going to go ahead and cut the rest of my sheets down to 8 inches by 12 inches. I'm not going to mess too much with, which pages are going to be which yet. I'm going to just cut everything down to 8 inches by 12 inches because 8 inches is the height of this folio as far as for the paper matting. So it doesn't matter whether I'm doing the pockets or the flaps or the main pages, everything will be 8 inches high, which is why I'm cutting everything down to 8 inches to start with. So everything's 8x12. So let's just go ahead and take a peek. We're going to go ahead and decide on our cover papers, so that way we can start to figure out which papers are going to be which and where everything's going to go before I start cutting down. So I really like the look of this one sheet. And what you'll find later is that I end up switching it out because it was just a little too busy. But when I first looked at it, I just really wanted to use it. And so I was kind of drawn to that one. And now what I'm looking for is a flap option. So I do recommend that you kind of play around with your paper before you cut into it, because once you've cut it, sometimes you just can't go back, right? So I'm going to cut down my paper. But before I do, I want to make sure that I'm kind of liking which options I have as far as for my flaps and my cover mat as well. So once I've kind of decided that, all of my heights will be 8 inches, and then my full pages will be 6 inches wide. My pockets will be 3.5 and 2.5, and my flaps will be 1.5. And in a second, I'll give you the breakdown of how many you'll need of each. So you're basically going to choose which pages which papers you want for which pages. You've got your large mats, you're going to need 6 of those. You have pocket mats, which is, you're going to need 2 of those. So you need 2 of the 3.5 and 2 of the 2.5s to make the full pocket page. And then you're going to need 2 skinnier flaps, which are the flaps that have that magnet, and those are 1.5 inches. And I will list all the dimensions down in the description box below in case you need that, just to make it a little bit easier. So choose your mats and then cut them down to size. So again, you're going to need 6 of those large ones, 2 whole pocket sets of the large and the small, and then 2 of the mini flaps. And you see here, I'm cutting everything down based on what I had decided. And now I'm just cutting everything and dividing it into my 2 piles. So I'm just, again, I cut all of my papers down to 8 inches by 12, and now I'm just trimming everything down to match what I need based on how I want to do this. Now you see here where these are kind of reversible, so you can kind of decide whether you want more of that busy pattern to show or less of it to show once you get further in when you're gluing. So I'm just kind of showing you that there. Okay, so we've got 2 piles of paper ready to go for our 2 folios from our 12 by 12 sheets from this kit. I've got my folio. We're going to go ahead and start gluing down. Again, you're going to need 6 of those large mats that are 6 inches by 8 inches, and including 1 cover and 1 base, so 6 total. Then what we're going to need is we're going to need 2 sets of the little mini flaps. So we got 1.5 by 8 inches. And so you'll have 1 on the front and 1 on the inside. Let me show you right here. So there's the front and there's the inside, just like this. Okay, so that's 1.5 inches by 8 inches. Then you're going to need 2 sets of the pockets. So you'll have a larger one, which is 3.5, and a smaller one, which is 2.5. The neat thing about this is just one sheet of 6 by 8 cut down to 3.5 and 2.5. And you can flip flop. You see here, I'm showing you, you can kind of choose whether you want more of the busy pattern or less of the busy pattern. So I'm going to wait until I get kind of further in and I'm gluing to decide which one, but I'm just trying to show you here that one 6 by 8 will yield the both pockets, and you can flip and flop however you want it. So we've got our 2 sets of pockets here. And again, we've got our dimensions 2.5 and 3.5 by 8. So we've got 6 large mats, 2 pocket sets, and 2 mini flaps. And then we've got our folio, the first of the 2 folios. So what I'm going to do is decide on my cover. And here's at the point where I decide, you know what, this is just way too busy. I'm not liking this as much. I did want to bring in this leaf punch from the Paper Studio, which I got from Hobby Lobby, probably on clearance. I did want to bring that in and layer up some leaves right here on the front, but even then it's still a little bit too busy. So I switched to this floral pattern, and I kind of like this a little bit better. I really like the look of that green. However, I want to bring in some green leaves, and so I don't want there to be too much overlap of the pattern. I'm going to use Barely Art wet glue for today's project. Wet glue, I feel, works best for this project because it's forgiving. You have a little bit of time of wiggle room to adjust your paper. Versus if you use double-sided adhesive tape, once you stick it down, it's down. So if you stick it crooked, you have a little bit of a harder time trying to maneuver it into place. So I'm adding my little mini flaps, and you want to be very careful to put plenty of glue where the edge, where the magnet is at. I'm going to go ahead and decide on my back cover and glue that down as well. And one thing I will mention, I already had this folio pre-made. I do have a video tutorial where I show how to make this folio, the base. I will link that at the very end of this video as well, in case you've never made this folio. This is, again, a MayMay made it inspired folio. So I'll link that video, her video, down in the description box below, but I'll link my tutorial video at the end in the end screen. So I'm just deciding where I want all of my pattern papers to go, my mats, starting with the larger ones, since they take up more real estate here. I'm deciding where they're going to go, and then I'm just gluing them down. It is so easy. The neat thing about this is if you did have a 6x8 paper pad, you wouldn't have to do very much cutting. That's one of the very, very neat things about this. I'm deciding where my pockets are going to go. You see here, I kind of mix and match, and I'm turning it around until I decide what I want to do. I end that I want more of this little fall stand paper to show, so I have that as my main pocket. Again, I'm just kind of going in here, deciding how and where I want all of my papers, gluing them down, and then I'm gluing these last final pockets here. So this is just such an easy project. It's so addicting. Once you start making these folios, you are not going to want to stop, especially when you smash through like what we just did. We just smashed through almost an entire paper pack with just making both projects. So this is what the inside looks like. You've got your pocket, a flip here, and another pocket right there. And you do have a magnet closure. So here's our basic folio. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and glue that second one off camera, and then we'll come back and finish our decorations. So I've got 2 of these folios now ready to go. With all they need, or what they lack, is just the decorations, which we'll be doing next. So we've got 2 folios ready to go. So I did punch out, I just want to show you, I did punch out some leaves from some of the solid back, the B-sides, with that leaf punch that I got from Hobby Lobby. I will be adding them kind of tiered here, layered. We got 3 leaves on the front, just like that. And then I'll finish my embellishments right on top of that. I just wanted to have like a back mat behind them. So I did go ahead and cut up all of my cut up parts off camera. We've got our 2 4x6s. Remember, this came from that one sheet that we salvaged for the paper. And then I did go ahead and cut up all of the 3x4 cut aparts, as well as the miscellaneous sheet of cut aparts as well. So we've got all of our cut aparts. We will be using a ton of cut aparts for this project. I did already cut my photo mats down. They're 4 1/4 by 6 1/4. You will be able to get a couple of these mats just from the foundation when you're making your folio. You see here, this is perfect to put a 4x6 picture, and you've got just a small 1/8 inch border all the way around. That's why we use a 4 1/4 by 6 1/4 mat for these photos. Those 4x6 stickers are just something that I made to add to these little mats. So let's go ahead and decorate our folio. Now, one thing that you're going to want to do is I tend to decorate the inside first because it's more flat. I want to make sure to keep everything real flat on the inside, and then I'm going to add more bulk of dimension on the cover. So you're kind of deciding whether you want to use 3x4 cut aparts. You've got some other options, especially if you have like a die cut like this. You could technically glue it in a way where you could insert your photo right behind the leaf. In this instance, I'm going to go ahead and just use my cut aparts because I feel like it's going to make it so much easier. We're going to bring in our stickers and our ephemera to kind of finish decorating with some flat layers right on the inside of this folio. But before I do, if there's anything that you really want to use on your cover, this is the time that you're going to want to set it aside. Okay, so I'm actually going to be using primarily my chipboard pieces and stickers, so I'm not too concerned. I'm going to decide where I want these cut aparts. I got my 3x4s and some of the miscellaneous ones. I'm going to glue things down on 2 sides only, so that way it's easy to insert your mat, just like you saw there. So I'm just adding glue to 2 sides of these cut aparts, and it's the side that's closest to the edge. Here I'm showing if you wanted to use a 4x6 cut apart as your pocket, you could. However, I really like the look of the smaller ones because it shows more of the picture when it's sticking out behind it. So I'm just kind of going through and adding all of my cut aparts into different areas. Now, the neat thing about those pockets is you can throw in a 4x6 cut apart in there as well. It can be used for journaling, or you can add an additional picture right behind it. You could also include some smaller pictures on those 4x6 cut aparts. So they fit perfectly into the pockets, and you can add more mats. Right now, I'm just going to be adding 1 mat per page, but you can absolutely include a couple of additional photo mats either in the pockets or maybe even sticking them behind these cut aparts. So I'm just adding some stickers now just to finish my embellishments. I'm going to go ahead and insert my photo mats that I made off camera, again with my little leftover scrap cardstock and my stickers that I made. Super easy, super fun. Add them into all of my pages, and again, you could add more if you want. I'm just going to stick to 1 for now. So we've got all of these super fun insides. This is what the inside will look like. Super fun, right? And you saw how quick it came together. So I'm going to repeat the process with that second folio. I'm just going to do it a little bit faster. I'm going to add in my cut aparts and then go back in and add in all of my glue down my cut aparts to make little tuck spots. So I will be listing both of these folios, the completed folios, in my Etsy shop, but I won't post them until around the 6th or the 7th of November because I want to make sure to do a full showcase for my November 7th Smash Our Stash video. So all the projects that I'm going to be doing with this kit, I likely will post all of them in my new Etsy shop. I do have a link for that down below, but again, you won't see these items until probably in another week from now. So our insides are done. Now let's go ahead and decorate the outside. So I only have a few cut aparts left. This was really a cut apart buster on this one. And then I'm going to go ahead and glue down my leaves. I'm kind of figuring out how I want them to kind of lay in front here, and they get a little bit lost with the floral pattern, but I still think that it's nice to kind of anchor behind my little chipboard pieces and stickers here. So I'm gonna go ahead and glue down my leaves, and I did cut out 3. I am of the opinion that things do look better in odd numbers, especially in groups of 3. So I went ahead and added all 3, and again, it gives me a perfect little anchor in that left-hand corner to add my embellishments right on top of it. So I'm gonna glue these leaves down. And again, if you have never made one of these folios, you definitely should give it a whirl. I think it's so fun. It's so easy. And you see here, it really is a paper smasher. You're able to use a lot of your paper for these projects. You could really smash either a paper pad, whether it be 6x8, which is perfect for this project, or you could even smash some larger ones, maybe 12x12 or a 12x12 pack. So I will, again, link my video with a tutorial on how to make the foundation of this folio and to kind of decorate one. I'll list that at the end of this video in the end screen. And then I'll also list MayMay's video, which was my original inspiration here. So you see here, I'm bringing in the ephemera pieces. I just want to add a little bit more. I'm going to bring in some double-sided tape from Dollar Tree. Go ahead and add it here just to kind of pop up some of this, just to make this just a little bit more dimensional on my cover. And usually when I make these folios, my cover is the only thing that's a little bit more dimensional. I try to keep the inside as flat as possible because you want to make sure that you have plenty of room on the inside for those photos and memories and journaling spots. So I'm just adding some enamel dots, which again, these are some of my favorite, the Echo Park ones. I'm adding these in just to kind of sporadically add. I think I add 5, again, odd numbers. So our covers are nearly complete. I'm gonna go ahead and finish them off. I'm gonna add some pops of color. I'll come right back and do a full recap. So here is what remains from my kit. This is what I'm gonna continue to use in my next video. I've got the sticker sheets. I've got most of my little paper scraps here. I've got just a few cut aparts left over. I have almost all of the chipboard pieces. I've got almost all of the ephemera pack, most of the enamel dots. And then of course we have our stamp set, which we haven't used, and the paper pad. One thing I want to point out is I've prepped my pad by taking it out. Notice there's no hang tag. There's no hole at the top. That's something new for Echo Park, but I do like it. Okay, so let's do a final recap. Project number 1 was 2 folios for that 6x8 paper. I did add pops of color. We got the mint in the gloss version and pops of color. We've got copper in the glitter version, and these are from scrapbook.com. I think these were some freebies, honestly, that I got with some previous orders. I've added little drops on there, and notice that I have a ton of magnets I've already kind of purchased. I do have an Amazon link down below. I am making a lot of folios. I'm wanting to make a ton of them. They're so fun. I'll definitely have these posted in my Etsy shop after or around the reveal for the Smash Our Stash video, which is November 7th. But I wanted to show you a little bit of a close-up. Again, I added those pops of color, kind of patted them down. I really like the look of this. Look at the inside. Here's the full folio. These are so fun. And you saw how easy it was to make. The hardest part's probably making the base of the folio, which is not hard at all, and then just cutting down the papers. Probably choosing your cover, I think, was probably my hardest decision here today. I was trying to decide what I want. It's a little bit bulgy there, a little dimensional, but I think it still looks great. So you see here those pops of color as well. Just so fun. You do want to let those dry overnight, 24 hours at least, which I did, but with the beauty of technology here, I'm able to show you like if it just happened. So we've got our photo mats. So fun. This is such a great way to share your fall memories or to easily keep them in one place for future reference. So September 2022, Echo Park Club EP. This was Welcome Fall by Carta. This was project number 1. Make sure you check out the rest of my videos to see all the other projects that we're going to do with this kit. Thanks for visiting, everyone. Here are a couple videos I think you might enjoy. Happy crafting.